in addition to doing the live one-on-one consultations and advisory calls that I do with clients here at Actual Human, I also do a great deal of live in-person presentations to industry trade groups, professionals, licensed experts. And one of the biggest conferences each year for the fraud prevention community is the ACFE conference. It stands for Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. I've been a member for almost a decade, and the ACFE is a group of professionals, 60,000 members that come together each year. Many of them are in law enforcement, FBI, CIA, that handle public sector fraud, but there's also a lot of private sector companies that help with fraud. And as a keynote speaker this year, I'm talking about not so much how to find fraud, because most of the investigators at these conferences are very good at finding fraud. They have all the skills, the techniques. There is some training about how to find some of the newer fraud, but what I'm going to be talking about is how to better help fraud victims. Fraud victims don't need somebody just to come in and say, you've been a fraud victim, here's your report, and then walk away. It's kind of like a doctor giving you a diagnosis saying, hey, I found a tumor, you have cancer, see you later, good luck. We want fraud investigators to be more proactive in helping the victim take the next step. And many fraud examiners don't do that, not because they don't want to, because they never thought it was part of their role, part of their job. We want to improve and increase what we call the bedside manner of the fraud investigators to help victims to see what their next move is. Can you recover the money? What are the resources in law enforcement? What are the resources in the legal world? What are the resources for investigations? What do you do to prevent it from getting worse? Whether you're a business that was embezzled, maybe you are a consumer that had your life savings, your retirement taken away by some scammer, Bitcoin scammer. Maybe you are somebody in a probate case that somebody stole all your money. We want to give more resources. So I'm going to do something. I'm not supposed to do this. It's supposed to be a complimentary or a confidential presentation, but I think I can share a few slides with you how this works. This is the presentation, Advanced Victim Fraud Support. We're going to be talking to the ACFE members. You will be back in your video in just a few seconds. In the meantime, remember that actualhuman.com offers you live one-on-one private video consultation with an expert in this exact subject. We want to listen to your story. We want to hear your questions. We want to give you expert advisement of your options and tell you what we know about your particular situation. Now back to your video. How to assist fraud victims beyond just discovering the fraud. So we're going to assume that the ACFE member, the certified fraud examiner, they're going to be able to find the fraud. They're good at that. They know what they're doing. We know how to find the fraud. Sure, we'll train on improving that, but we also want to talk to the investigators of what to do next with the clients. And here's another one. Yep, we got you, fraudster. Fraud cases are caught faster using and causing smaller losses. That's the key. This was a report that came out 2 years ago saying that more fraud cases are being caught. That's the good news. The bad news is every time there's a fraud case that's caught, it creates a victim. And here's a couple examples of a victim. A business person that found out that their payroll's missing. A consumer that found out that there's a probate case that stole all their money. Maybe a family that found out their retirement's gone. We want to teach fraud examiners to consider yourself to be a first responder, because this is a significant traumatic event for the victim. These are the slides, by the way, from the presentation. Whether the client is a corporate CEO, small business owner, consumer, you as a victim are now finding out your financial condition has changed. That's a big thing to find out. In that moment, you may not be thinking about what to do next. You have to let that sink in, right? So we're going to talk about what to do next. What kind of protocol of support the fraud examiner can provide the victim, coping mechanisms, engaging resources. We want this to be a one-time event. It's going to be hard to deal with as a victim, but we don't want it to be a domino effect of chaos that puts you into depression. Small businesses, 60% of small businesses have to go out of business after a cyber attack, a certain type of fraud event. And we want to teach fraud examiners that the victim's life is different than what it was 24 hours ago, because now they know for sure that this is a real fraud. It wasn't a suspicion. It's not a hunch. It's a real fraud. So this is one of the things we train on, and we teach people how to do as fraud examiners, as investigators, as law enforcement. We teach you how to do this. If you're a fraud victim, you can have access to this through our link at actualhuman.com. If you're a victim, it's going to be tough, but there are ways to make it easier, and more importantly, to keep it from getting worse, to keep it from doing more damage emotionally, psychologically, financially, business, family. You want to firewall it off, so whatever the damage is, it doesn't go any further. And we also want to listen to you. We want to hear what happened to you, what your difficulty is. Maybe it's a struggle. We want to hear about it, because we may have a lot of resources we can point your way and help you with to keep it from being a worse problem as a victim. God forbid. Hopefully you're not a victim. Hopefully you're an investigator watching this that wants to learn how to be a better resource for your clients. Thank you for watching another video at actualhuman.com and describe.tv. Remember, if you have questions or comments about our videos, put them in the link below. Also, remember that you have availability and access to live one-on-one question and answer consultation with a licensed expert in a number of fields: investigations, insurance, surety bonds, civil court mediation, even things like real estate records research, real estate brokers, real estate mortgage lenders. In addition, you're going to find that experts are available in business segments, business development, marketing, advertising, certified licensed experts. So if you do find this content valuable and you want to delve more deeply into a subject, you can't ask YouTube a question, right? But if you want to talk to somebody live, an actual human, use the link below. Thanks for watching.